Okay, so Buzzy healthcare company Hims and Hers lost nearly $200 million in stock value in a single day after the CEO said he and other executives were eager to hire anti-Israel student protesters who faced disciplinary actions from other universities. The online sexual health and pharmaceutical company plummeted 8% last Friday from its opening price of $12.24 to $11.26, just 2 days after the CEO made the comments. In the particular tweet, which we might pull up, we have a link to that, but we can just read some of it here in the article. He says, moral courage is greater than a college degree. If you're currently protesting against the genocide of the Palestinian people and for your university divestment from Israel, keep going. It's working. There are plenty of companies and CEOs eager to hire you, regardless of university discipline. Apply here. Well, interestingly enough, the first comment says, well, guess your company went down the drain. He said that 7 days ago. And, well, turns out $200 million in losses led him to walk back his statements.
And I might add that it's mainly because yesterday I canceled my account.
Yes.
I've been a Hims user. Your boy's hair is not what it used to be. I mean, it's worked pretty good. The whole online ordering process is really sweet. And I really canceled it because I don't see it as effective, but timing wise sucks for him. There's a lot of competing products out there that do exactly what they do.
Yes.
And so that's the positive and the negative of capitalism. This is how a capitalistic society works.
Correct.
Right? You make a great product. I buy it. I don't like who you are. I don't like what you stand for. I don't have to buy it.
Correct.
And the consumer ultimately drives in a product-driven type of business like this. Whether you make it or you break it.
Facts. Well, and that reality of that is, I think, what has led him to walk this back. So check this out. An article that just came out says founder and CEO Andrew Dudum said his previous comments offering support for anti-Israel protesters on college campuses were misconstrued by some after the company's stock dipped. In a thread on X, he wished to clarify his earlier comments and said he does not support violence, anti-Semitism, or intimidation. He says the last few days have been a disheartening reflection of just how divisive a time we live in, Dudum began. I'd like to clarify a few things because my words have been misconstrued by some. I in no way condone or support acts of threats or violence and anti-Semitism or intimidation, and there is absolutely no justification for violence on our campuses. Every student deserves to feel safe without fear of harm or being targeted for who they are. I am deeply saddened that my support for peaceful protest has been interpreted by some as encouraging violence, intimidation, or bigotry of any kind.
I don't know how else you would take it. I mean, you are promoting one of the most violent sects of that part of the country. Mm-hmm. Essentially the Hamas, which set off the entire thing. And then this whole like genocide thing, like hasn't the Palestinian population been growing year over year?
I'm not sure.
It has.
Yep.
And so how can it be a genocide if the population continues to grow?
Yep.
Really what I think that the biggest issue is, and we've been talking about it, most of these kids don't even know what they're actually protesting, number one. Number two, Israel is our only ally as it relates to democracy in that part of the world. And so it's a strategic takedown of democracy in another country where we have supported them because of that. And it's the one part of the country where Jews still can remain their own nation state, mm-hmm. right? Effectively. So his comments are ignorant, insensitive, ill-educated, and he learned the hard way. So he doesn't mean anything that he just said. He's totally full of shit, honestly. But this is the same thing that's happening too. There's a few judges that came out and said the same thing. 11 judges, largely from Texas, obviously conservative, that have come out and said that they will no longer hire Columbia law clerks over the protest. Mm. And pretty much any student coming out of Columbia is what they said, because the way that the whole entire system's been handled over there, that they're just tired of it. It's counterintuitive to following the order of law. And it basically says Columbia has, the 11 judges, largely from Texas, all appointed by Donald Trump, obviously, said in a Monday letter to Columbia University President Manoush Shafiq that they won't hire law clerks who attend the institution as either undergraduates or law students, starting with next year's entering class. Columbia has instead become an incubator of bigotry, As a result, Colombia has disqualified itself from educating the future leaders of this country. Reads the letter, a copy of which was obtained by Bloomberg Law. Spokespeople for Colombia didn't immediately respond to the request for comment. The letter was signed by U.S. Court of Appeals for the 5th Circuit Judge James Ho, U.S. Court of Appeals 11th Circuit Judge Elizabeth Branch, U.S. Court of Federal Claims Judge Matthew Solomonson. That's a tough one. Who repeatedly said he won't hire students who sign letters he believes effectively support the Hamas terror attacks on Israel on Israel on October 7th. And so, we've been talking about this. This is your future workforce, and they have no understanding of everything that they're now doing. They're building in public effectively. So that poor girl who's down there protesting, who has no idea, who just became the meme of the week, good luck.
Yeah.
It's going to have some impact on you.
Yeah. And then the flip side being the complementary side of it being, as the business owner, it's fine to have the moral courage, your own moral courage, to say what you really believe, but you're going to have to stand on it and face whatever consequences it brings to your business.
100%. And I actually give him credit initially for speaking up.
Yeah, we were talking about
saying
that.
what he said. The fact that he walked it back. And this is kind of also what happens when you get into private equity, publicly traded, board of advisors. He might not have wanted to walk it back until he got the phone call. It was like, do you like to be the CEO of this company? And so potentially he is pandering to his investor constituents.
Yeah. Snatch that baby right up.
Right.
Yeah.
So you go public, it changes quite a bit. Even though you're the founder of the company, you might not be for very long. I mean, we saw Sam Altman almost get ousted, right? We've seen Elon get ousted.
Yeah,
it can happen when you're that big with that many people on a board of advisors. And just because you own the large majority of the business doesn't mean that the operating agreement doesn't state otherwise about how decisions are ultimately made.
Yeah, other people's money equals other people's voices. Yeah,
Right.
It matters. Roger that.